Imagine me and you, I do. I think about you day and night. It's only right to think about
thanks for the follow there.
And hold her tight, so happy together.
39 kill! Sweet!
View and stream your favorite games on the Mixer mobile apps.
My name is Pretty here. I'm joined by my very special guest once again. So nice they asked for it twice. HRX Goran, welcome back.
It's a pleasure.
We ran into a little highway trouble, but we got the man here safe for you guys. We got another show match, a really, really spicy one here today in the Expo Hall. Show off Paladins Battlegrounds once more. A couple of great players in the building today. We've got Incon back again. He had some great Makoa plays. There he is. Hopefully, he's got a squad together today that is ready to take the crown from Joe. And whoever Joe has brought here, he has a special guest alongside. Let's head him to see it backstage. It is Joe and Weekend. There he is, the man himself. And this guy, though he comes from Smite, has a lot of FPS skill, Battle Royale skill specifically. And there's Joe again, the two-time back-to-back Paladins Battleground champion. And for those of you that may be joining us for the first time, HRX, take us through just kind of the overarching view of what Paladins Battlegrounds is.
Well, since we're already in champion selection, we're looking for Joe to pick up Grover this particular time.
Oh, you got to.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Alienware Analyst Desk.
Yesterday,
there's 8
random champions per match,
and we are here for the first game of the semifinal matches, guys. It is Energy versus Rival, and it's going to be a particularly interesting one at that, considering that these are two teams that are viewed as probably some of the top-tier talent in Europe right now.
Yeah, this is going to be a really great game for sure. I think that both of these teams have a history of great games against each other, and no matter what we're going to see, it's going to be a great set.
Well, let's talk a little bit about actually their history together. Energy had a rough start going into the season, and I know, Demi, we talked about that a little bit these last few days. How has Rival matched up to them coming into the scene, not really well known beforehand?
So in the past, when Rival actually formed up to be a better team, when they were in their starts, Energy actually had the upper hand against them when Rival actually got better as a team at, I think, the Summerland. No, the Springland it was a best of 3, and we lost to them in a best of 3. It was because of the Phoenix Siege. They're a team that just doesn't give up, and they know how to do it. They know how to play the long game well, and that's why we struggle against them in the split. Now the World's here, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with that.
We're all curious to see what's going to happen today, and we have a full house right now, guys, for these excited matches. And if you can't be here today, do not worry, everyone.
You can't forget about probably one of the most special experiences of a Battle Royale, and that is the pre-game lobby.
And we see, I think today we have about 80 or so people playing.
That's a lot.
Looks like 72 right now. The map is going to be played with 100 players. We obviously have slim limits at the show floor, so 72 stations right now. And there's a lot of Grovers around.
There's a lot of Grover,
There's a lot of Grovers.
It's all Grover now. Fan favorite. We've got some Doom Shroom. We've got some of the winner with the Rose Blossoms. Got some custom skins coming out here. We're seeing Inara. So like HRX mentioned, 8 possible champions randomly selected. However, you will always see at least 2 from each class. But HRX, what happens if I've just downloaded Paladins? I don't have the champion pack, the founders pack. I don't have any of that. I don't have any of the characters unlocked. Who do I get?
Well, if you just downloaded Paladins, you're not going to get any of this because it's not available yet.
Okay. but when it is
available, you will always have at least 1 of each class available for you, and 1 random that is going to be
beautiful. So what's this?
Okay, so that's the map that they can land in. You can see little red squares where other teams have decided to land. So you can decide, do you want to land aerially in a particular spot, or do you want to see what's congested and start fighting very quickly? The Zeppelin drops you down with your team. So it's important, since this is very team-focused play, it's important to be with your team right from the start. I think we're spectating Joe.
Yeah, this will be Joe.
And Joe is going right for the loot boxes. He's fast.
Right out of the gate, he knows where to go. Double loot chest up top for Joe. And he hopped on his horse, but there it is again. So it looks like you have control whenever you want to hop on that mount and get back into the action. You're going to need it. This map's 300 times the size of a normal Paladins
It's
map.
a very large map, and you can see his teammates are getting various loot boxes as well. There are different qualities of loot boxes. Oh, look at that. Somebody came in before.
Somebody sniped it from him.
So there are different levels of quality to the loot. Right now he has 2 levels. One is the green and one is the blue. The green is the lowest level. Doesn't give you that much.
So the ragged jacket.
It's 10% max health.
All right.
At blue you would get about 20% health.
Right.
At epic level, which would be purple,
gotcha,
you're going to go most likely to about 30 or 40% health.
And it starts to add some more unique effects.
Oh,
there
here's
you go.
a nice. He's got plus 50% damage. So
gotta love that.
And additional damage to shield. So he's much stronger now. He can do a lot more damage.
Okay, we're gonna take a ride along here with Weekend, who is playing Leon, and hearing some shots popping off maybe in the background.
And he doesn't have any epics yet, so he's going to be somewhat
I gotta
weaker.
say, we've watched, what, 3-4 games of Mr. Hi-rez, Joe, and he always seems to know. Maybe he's got some secret strats or something. He's always rolling up on some epic loot
and here's
sooner rather than later.
Now you notice that the loot does have arrows. If it's a green arrow, it means it's an upgrade. A red arrow is a downgrade, and a swap is something similar of same caliber of rarity, but it could have some different stats associated with it.
Right, so that's just a quick look, and that's very important in a battle royale, especially when you're fighting hard against enemies. You might get 1 down, 2 down.
There's the Zeppelin.
There it is. Tell us a little bit about what this Zeppelin is bringing into the field.
If you look way in the back, there's a Zeppelin that's about to drop a legendary crate. And legendary crates are worth fighting over because the stats on them are exceptionally high.
Very high. They've got not 1, not 2, but it looks like 3 effects.
The 3 effects, but mainly they provide things like 100% damage, 100% health, a variety of other very good stats. You might get, in addition to something like damage, you may get something like reduce healing on the enemy team by 100%.
Joe's found another, so it's
and
looking
45% mount speed. So his mount is now running fast.
Roaring across the battlefield. And I'm seeing a logo or an icon for one of these legendary chests actually outside of the fog. What happens to these chests once the fog closes in on them?
Well, if it's in a fog, chest is gone.
It's gone, so.
Yeah.
So you have to get it, the risk reward, before the fog actually closes in. They won't last forever. So make your move while you can.
And there's the fog. So somebody is
and there it goes.
Awfully close to the fog. And now you can mount and run away from the fog. You're fast enough for that. And you can't heal. So there's, by the way, on the minimap, you did see a legendary chest, which means that's an area of contention that you'll find a lot of players. Joe's mount is going rather fast. Now, yesterday when we watched it, we had a lot of early fights.
We did.
Remember, both days there was skirmishes right at the start, a lot of killing. This is more of the traditional start of not being anywhere around anybody else and just getting your basic loot.
We're seeing the basic loot, of course, reflected. 4 rarities. We've got green, blue, purple, and legendary that only comes from those airdrop, those Zeppelins. The greens are going to have the 1 base stat. Blue's going to double that base stat. Epic will add another base stat, so you'll have 2 stats. And these are those passive stats you're used to seeing out of the Paladins item store. Things like anti-heal, things like increased damage to shield, mount speed, percent damage, damage mitigation. But you guys have also added an additional effect in armor penetration. Tell us a little bit about how that is going to play out.
That's something we're still experimenting with. It's in effect the same as having extra health. So it does damage reduction. We'll see if we leave that in or change it around. But either way, it gives you additional health, as well as on the other side, removing that additional health. The fog is converging once again. And you will notice that they have a team comp of 4 different champions. That is not a requirement. You can actually have multiple champions as the game stands right now. So you could come up against a team of 4 Grovers.
And we've seen that. We've seen that here in the Expo Hall. We've seen that work out very well. There's one more legendary chest, and if I know Joe, he's going to be calling for his boys to go hunting on that. He's got the map marked, and you see actually a beam in the sky above it.
Yes, and the beam is a better indicator to let you know that the chest, now this chest has no beam, which means somebody already took it. So unlike yesterday when people did not know about picking up the chest as much.
We're seeing that one.
And Joe had 3 of them, so he was basically mastering everyone.
He's running around on Buck with 3 legendaries and an epic. Ooh.
And I think people have learned this time, and we may have a first engagement now.
Rolling up on this town. 49 players remain, so it's still a decent amount. Only about 20 or so have expired in this matchup. Joe's waiting for his squad. He sees the enemies. Grover hitting like a truck. He's got additional damage to shield, so he's going to chunk through this Torvald very quickly. Weekend is right behind him. Into the chicken stance he goes.
Done.
And dead quickly thereafter.
So the first... Now, the enemy did turn into a chicken. The chicken can be resurrected, but obviously their teammates are in trouble, so there's not going to be any resurrection.
Ooh, Joe is feeling the pressure today.
There's some damage being done.
And he might be
look at that axe shot.
He's hitting some big axe shots on the Torvald. He's got his additional 250. Weekend's falling low as well. They've already lost 1. They've lost 2. Weekend is a chicken. Weekend is dead. They've got 1 more chicken. All their hopes are kind of residing here on Joe. His Torvald has been abandoned. Joe's gone lone wolf, and it looks like another squad maybe rolling up into the action here. Joe has lost everyone. His Torvald, you can see, has been turned into a chicken by his darker icon. Things are not looking good for our 2-time champion, Joe Freedom. Up onto his mount, he will go. 2 epic items, and he looks like he just wants to call this one a day. Licking his wounds, Joe retreats. His team around him slain. Weekend dead. Incon looking over at his computer. He looks like he is still alive, so it might be Incon's day.
Yeah, so Joe is now hoping for everybody else to fight it out a lot more.
Oh, he's refereeing this fight.
Look at that, 1,700 in.
This is called refereeing a fight. You know, you wait on the wings, you wait for 2 squads to engage each other, and that's the way that Joe's going to have to play this now. He's lost 3 of his teammates. The only way he has a chance of being able to actually pull this one out is if he referees a fight. There's still a big one going on. Somebody just went down. He's checking loot chest, see if he can min-max anything. He's playing carefully, getting on his mount, but it's a 3-second cast time, so this is not exactly something you can cast in the middle of an engagement and just kind of escape freely. Who is this here we've got on screen? This man's only got 2 left. He's got 120 HP. Got to play this very carefully.
I think it's back to Joe. No,
Joe.
Don't tell me Joe's going to take out 2.
He's refereeing this fight, Joe. Focus on the task at hand. He's got his heal available. This Leon has anti-heal. He's going for the hot swap. Joe gets 2 epic upgrades in the middle of a fight. Nice play from Joe.
He's a player.
He is. That's what, you know, what you were saying about those green arrows, that upgrade, that was what exactly those are designed for. That quick swap in the middle of a fight. You want to grab something, min-max what is best for you. And there's Incon, the Doom Shroom Grover. He's in engagement too. He's the only one left alive. Today is not their day.
But he's out in the open, and it's going to be much tougher to be in that one. He's now a dead chicken.
Yeah. That is rank number 10. Incon's team has placed 10th. Joe, against all odds, escaped with his life. His team fell around him.
And Joe's going to have to play this very carefully. This is a team game. It's very hard to solo teams unless you have all the great legendaries, which gives you a much higher chance.
He has none right now. He's going to keep hunting for them, though.
So he's going to have to look for teams that are fighting and kind of like mop up the action.
Yeah.
But if there's a team of 4 left at the end, it would be almost impossible unless he's
That's what you pray for, really, when you queue up for squads. And squads is, like we heard in the keynote, primarily what this game mode was designed. Joe almost got this mounted there.
Now, we will most likely have a 2-player version as well. So for people who want to do a little more soloing or just go with a buddy and get into the game, that's going to be possible as well. It's probably going to be a little bit less team-oriented and a little bit more shooter-oriented at that point.
Beautiful. Fog covering in 39 seconds. This is just different gameplay than what we saw from Joe yesterday. He had 2, 3 legendaries pretty early on, and he and his squad were all together. They had 4 members strong. They were rolling around chest to chest, just completely commanding the battlefield. And it felt like nobody else could get any map control. He was passing out legendaries to the squad. They were feeling good, but this is just a different story. Joe is going to have to play this very differently. We saw him play Kinessa to great success. We saw him play a Buck, so a much closer range character, to great success. But now you know this is going to happen when you're not queuing with your buddies, when you're solo queuing into those squads, or even if you like to put yourself at the risk of, you know, you turn off autofill, you want to queue up by yourself and go against all of the squadrons. You want to play the full lone wolf challenge mode. This is the type of gameplay.
And his strategy now should be to help whittle down teams. The best thing that Joe can hope for is other teams are fighting and some people go down, so no one has full teams left.
Ooh, that was very close, that Leon. Eminence almost connected with him, and thank God he picked up those boots that had what is the master riding effect in Paladins to speed up his mount, but he is running into the fog. Joe doesn't have a lot of room to work with. He's trying to break line of sight, but there's another team. Joe is not liking what he's seeing. He's just scrambling. Fog not doing a ton of damage here. If he gets dismounted,
run,
this
Joe,
could
run.
be trouble, Joe.
And this is where playing a barrack really comes in handy. As I've told you yesterday, if you put down those turrets and people follow you, they will drop off the horses.
Oh, man. And those of you that know me, it's hard to be up here supporting barrack gameplay, but there's a 4-man squad with one legendary. This man
has bad news for Joe.
Legendary boots. Those are the world stompers.
They found a place to hide behind.
I believe. Playing it smart. They want to stay together. They want to. They're not looking to frag out. They're not looking to lose any teammates before the end of the game.
And the issue was at the start, you saw Joe's team was a little scattered.
Yeah.
And obviously, in a team fight situation, you want to try to be a cohesive unit. They were also in the town, so it gave them, it wasn't wide in the open, so the team couldn't just focus on someone. You really had to play around the buildings a lot.
Joe.
There's the Zeppelin.
2 kills. Zeppelin dropping in a legendary chest right now. Incon watching from the crowd. No success today or yesterday, but that's quite all right. We thank him for playing. A lot of epic loot. No legendaries this time for Joe. He's not going to have that boon, and there's a little bit of an engagement going on. This Inara has a legendary loot. You can see in the bottom right of her screen glowing bright orange goldish, illuminated very closely, and only 10% of her ultimate charge, and it's not charging over time like a traditional Paladins game mode.
No, you actually have to be engaged in this scenario in order to build up your ultimate charge.
So a lot of things designed here as we're watching a Torvald struggle. He's waddling his way, 237 HP. He's going to go down, 2 quick shots, put him into a chicken, and then do the rest of the work. A lot of these mechanics in Paladins Battlegrounds are actually promoting aggression. You can see where teams are dropping. You can hunt them down, take their loot. Everyone knows where that legendary chest is going to be. And you can't. You almost have no chance of winning a game. There it is.
There was a loose legendary.
There's a double chest there, it looks like. But Joe, he's been baited into it. They left it. They left it for him. And now it's a 2 from the front, 2 from the back. That's 2 teams there.
Run, there's 2 teams. You're in the middle.
Uh-oh, this is not looking good for Joe. What can he do? He's going to hit the vine. He's going to try to get out of combat here. It looks like he successfully disengaged these teams, more concerned about each other. And that's just a blessing.
That was beautiful. You do not want to be monkey in the middle in that particular scenario.
Joe's playing the map very well here. He's done a pretty good job of disengaging, scavenging up some loot. Did a great job of refereeing a fight, which is 2 other teams
found someone
fighting.
Loose.
He's got somebody, but she is rocking and rolling. That has got to be the Leon. Ooh, with the World Stompers. Her mount is just going to be a little bit faster than Joe's, but she wants to actually take this fight. She's got an anti-heal item. Joe may have not accounted for this.
No.
She's got teammates nearby as well.
The teammates.
He misses the vine. And Joe
chicken.
is going to lose that game. He is coming 7th place, but that's all right. We're going to follow along with those that are still in the game. This squad, 3 kills to their name, 34% on that Grover ultimate. Not as great of loot, but that's probably going to happen when you're not by yourself. You got to spread the love.
Well, sometimes.
Sometimes.
No, you can't have the strategy of building up one person on your team to be the ultimate killer. So that is a strategy that can be used.
And that just goes into what being a hero shooter battle royale brings, is that every character is going to bring a little bit something different to the battlefield. So we've got 2 Grovers, a Torvald, a Tyra on this squadron. So maybe the strategy is to load this Tyra up with as many damage items as possible, give defensive stuff to the Torvald so he can be out on the lines with her, making sure she's protected, and enabling the strengths of your composition to give yourselves the best chance at success.
Yes. Or you could do what we had yesterday, which is one of the pro teams decided to have the Grover Murder Squad.
That was...
with 4 Grovers.
And it won.
And they did win. Now, people really didn't understand the legendaries well enough at that point because you could have shut down all the healing with a proper item.
Yep.
And then
that's what we saw happen to Joe just now.
Absolutely, Joe could not heal well because somebody had the anti-healing item.
This Grover is kitted. This squad is looking like a favorite. If I had a dog in this race, 2 legendaries, an epic, 7 kills, and 4 ultimates available. 1 chicken, 10 players remain. Top 10 situation entering here. This is not looking good for this squadron up on the hill. They're going to lose a couple. Check hot for those items. Big Grover ultimates, double Grover ultimates, just to make absolutely sure. And now, HRX, if you're turned into a chicken, I'm just seeing people waddle around for a long time, but they're not actually dying even close to immediately. So can you be picked up from this chicken state?
So when you're a chicken, you bleed out slowly.
Okay.
And then you have the chance to be revived by a teammate. It takes a little bit of time to revive someone. Otherwise, you will die over time. Or if you hit the fog, you instantly die. Because, you know, chickens can't handle the fog.
Chickens cannot inhale fog. Everybody knows that. They're deathly allergic to battle fog, and they will go and expire absolutely instantly.
So we have 7 players left. That's basically just one team.
So
and then at most there's one other team with 3 people.
Or it could be a 4v2, v1.
It could be
or a 4v1, v1, v1. Bunch of lone wolves running around. This Grover looking like he's got this one. And I mean, think about Hyper Beam knocking somebody way into the fog, as well as the fact that if you turn somebody into a chicken, you could Hyper Beam them all and instantly kill them against the death fog. And it's like,
is that a player with 4 legendaries?
I
think it might be.
Oh man, this
that is going to be a deadly.
Get it to the teeth. Who is this man? We need a shot of that guy's face.
He's most likely going to be killing everyone.
He's going to be looking pretty good. Torvald doesn't have great base. Never
mind.
But look at that guy does that. Look, he's going to go for it. Hyper Beam against the death fog to frag that chicken. 1 left. This is looking like the dog that's going to win the race.
He's probably
easy peasy.
Oh,
Bucks,
yeah.
chickenized.
No problem. No
and
problem.
There it is.
Very
That's
well
a W.
done.
They're amped about it in the expo hall.
Rank 1.
Number 1. And that was, I mean, those guys probably got 10 plus kills. They had the 4 legendaries. You said, I don't think you've ever even seen that.
It's a rare occurrence, but you got to remember, towards the end of the game, the legendaries are getting consolidated because as other players drop them, people pick them up.
And how many Zeppelins, how many legendary loots can we expect to see in this?
Well, at the moment, it drops 1 legendary chest every minute.
Awesome.
So if you have a 30-minute game, and you may, it could get to that, then you'll have as many as 30 legendaries, which means that you can equip 2 full teams just about.
So what happens if I get a legendary, or I see a new one on the ground that I want to trade out for? Can I give my teammates what I was wearing if I had an epic or something great?
Don't forget, whatever you get comes from the chest.
Gotcha.
And you can always swap with the item in the chest.
All right.
So if you had legendary, if you found the chest with probably, like, let's say legendary gloves,
right?
Or whatever
But you already had epic gloves, and you don't want to get rid of those.
Then you just swap it out, and your teammate can pick it up and swap again.
Awesome. So, talk to me a little bit about the time to kill. How is this going to stack up against the traditional Paladins gameplay that we're all used to seeing? Is it going to be faster? Is it going to be slower? Is it going to be exactly the same?
It's going to be somewhat similar, but it's going to start a little bit more mellow, probably a little bit more like a traditional level of time to kill as you would have in a Paladins match.
Okay.
But as you gain more of the items and you have any kind of item discrepancy, the time to kill will get reduced. Towards the end of the match, it's probably more deadly than it is at the start.
Okay, how would you compare time to kills of somebody like that Torvald who has 4 legendary items against another player like a Joe with 4 legendary items as well? Like, are they going to be killing each other? Is it all things equal? Are they going to be on even footing at that point?
They're going to be somewhat similar, although we have an added mechanic that's getting put in right now for additional kills. You do additional damage. So you want to be very engaged to get those extra kills because you will be to kill people even faster.
And welcome one of our players, Mr. Weekend from Smite. How was that game, man?
That game
what
was
happened?
so fun. I don't know.
What
man.
happened?
I ran over a hill on Grover's. I didn't know what to do.
It was all Grover now, Mr. Weekend, guys. You may know him from Smite, but if you know anything about this man's stream, it's that he does dabble a bit in the Battle Royale genre. I see you out here grinding. You actually were able to win one of those big tournaments. I was cheering you and DJ Vernicus on, man. That was awesome to see. So this guy knows his way around a Battle Royale. You were playing a little bit of Leon. Are you familiar with that character? What inspired you to make that pick? Did Joe, was he micromanaging the draft?
Well, Joe was like, he wanted to play it, so I was like, I got it. If he wants to play it, I will play it.
Mic a little closer.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, he was like, if he wants to play it, I gotta play it, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that was,
yeah.
as soon as I saw it, I was like, I'm playing this.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a fun character. It's a fun hero. I just didn't get to play it.
So as somebody that has played a lot of battle royales, dabbled around the genre, how would you say that Paladins Battlegrounds stands out to you? How does it feel different from those other competitors?
The whole ability-based, like, separate characters is gonna kill. It's gonna take over. It's so much fun. I've played like 3 or 4 games like off stage, and I've enjoyed myself the whole time.
Here we go. I'm gonna give you this one right here. I'm gonna rock and roll with this. I need this. This was a call from higher up essentially because I've got the Nordic wartail going on today. I'm gonna say it like that because I'm gonna protect my masculinity here and not feel like too much of a girl with my ponytail up here. But yeah, talk to us about how does it feel different? How does the pacing feel different? Time to kill. How are the items playing in for you? The kits, the compositions. And the fact that it is actually worked and designed to be from the ground up played as a squadron as opposed to that solo lone wolf style.
That was the first thing I noticed. In other Battle Royale games, your team isn't that important. You can kind of carry anybody. In this game, you have to stick with your team or it is going to screw you over. It's not going to be a good time. For the items, the fact that you're looking for that legendary item and when you get it, it's like the whole game changes for you. If you're the person on your team with that, you're like the focus, you're the one who's going to do everything. It's so much fun.
It's a lot of fun from start to finish. We had that true Battle Royale lobby experience as well. That's when the mic's going to be open. Whitney Houston, my love will go on. You know, all that good stuff's going to be going on, blasting the music. HRX. It's a lot of fun. What are some of the other things that you guys hope? Any new mechanics? Are we going to see this kind of experience stay close to what the traditional Paladins experience is, or do you guys hopes to branch out, talk about, you know, the legendary cards, the loadouts for these champions, and how these are going to stack up to like a traditional Paladins game?
Well, we hope to try and keep the game itself as close as possible to the core Paladins mechanics, so that way players can move between the various modes, still be able to enjoy them, and what you learn in one is still valid in another mode. The biggest difference are the items themselves and looking for those crazy overpowered cards that really change the game around and give you something to look forward for, something to fight over. That mechanic alone is probably enough to change it around where you are going to be playing it differently. And obviously the map itself, the size of it. But the core mechanics are going to be there. We don't want to stray too far away from that. We might have cards in your deck that you are going to bring with you that are change the gameplay to be a little bit more towards one game mode versus another. So you might have a legendary card that's more fitting for a Battlegrounds mode versus a Siege type of gameplay. And that's how we will try to give characters the abilities to play in different modes in different ways if they'd like.
Right, so like we were saying, you're going to have that subset of 8 champions, 2 from each class. And unlike most of the modes, you could stack up. So if you wanted to play the Grover and Joe wanted to play the Grover, we had our Australian pro team playing all Grovers, and of course they were able to win. But building those compositions and taking those fights, how you want to play it, I mean, that goes into a lot of it. So you had a longer range character, and you were saying, how would you have, if you could go back, would you have taken that fight that ended up ending it all for your squad?
I probably would have stayed farther back and allowed my teams to be the one that decided whether we lived or died. I was a little bit off to the side, which was a mistake. But, I mean, maybe next time it'll go better.
You got to keep it tight.
Now, one thing that I do want to add to it is because we have different characters that play differently, unlike a traditional type of Battlegrounds game or a Battle Royale style game where people are equipping the same kind of type of weapons, typically the longer range weapons are the most beneficial, especially throughout the game. There are situations, obviously, where you want a shotgun when it's an up-close scenario, but really as the game progresses, if you have a strong sniper rifle, you're going to be much better off than somebody with a, sitting with a shotgun in the middle, in the wide open. It's very different for us. People would automatically think, well, if I have a Kinessa, for example, and I can just snipe people, no problem, I'm going to win the game. That's not the situation because there are flank characters that'll come stealth behind you and just kill you, right?
Absolutely.
So for people that want to compare the two, it doesn't quite work that way. Initially, we were very concerned about that, but as we started playing, we found out, no, it's not working that way. It's just as important to realize that you have all these other characters that are going to be coming up against you. It's not a traditional type of format. Some people will hunt you down when you're looking for a loot crate inside the house and kill you instantaneously. Other people will shoot you from far away. So you have to realize what everybody else has. You don't want to be out in the open when somebody's sniping you like crazy all the time.
I got to say, and we can feel free to comment, that
just the type of play that seems like it's incentivized. It's that aggression. They're showing you where people are dropping. If you're one of those people that want to go in, they want to get the early frags. HRX mentioned there might be some sort of snowballing mechanics where if you're the one that's getting kills, you're going to get like some incremental damage boost, whatever it happens to be, to reward that type of play. Loot hunting, going for those legendaries. That's the only place you're going to find that legendary loot is in that loot crate. And the time to kill, it goes from traditional Paladins, but it kind of ramps up to that lower TTK once you get those legendary items. And if you're somebody who's pretty much just prone in the bathtub, so to speak, you're not going to have a chance.
Yeah, it's going to put you really far behind. I noticed real quick, you want to be the team that's going for that chest, getting the chest, and then just fight your way out of it as fast as possible and move on to the next chest.
Joe, even with his epics, he was primed to basically two-shot anyone that he came up against. HRX, any closing thoughts for us?
Well, I'll tell you about one of my scenarios that I played in. I was playing with Brian, who's very greedy about getting the legendary cards.
That's Lionheart for those
he was running us around the map. This is one of our play tests, and sure enough, there's a legendary, so we're all racing towards the legendary, and there are two teams fighting out. So we said, great, you know, we'll kind of join in and pick off people.
Referee.
So we sat there, we started shooting everyone, we killed a few people, feeling great, about to pick up the legendary, and this team comes right behind us and kills us all in,
oh man,
in
a
a couple of
taste
seconds.
of your own medicine.
Yeah.
And that's just part of the beauty of the Battle Royale genre. Guys, thank you so much for joining us here in the Expo Hall. That was Paladins Battlegrounds. I hope you all enjoyed. We can better luck next time, but thank you for playing InCon, Joe. Better luck as well. We've got a lot of hot PWC action as well as SWC action in both of our streams going on, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.